Yeah, it's pretty strong. So, well, we see that here as the next pick, fourth pick for Nemiga is that Leshrac coming out. Okay, Leshrac has been a hero popped up here and there a couple of times. In the Viper matchup, I wouldn't necessarily call Leshrac great, but as well, I guess he's not susceptible to break either, so has that going for him. In terms of standing on the Nether Toxin, so he'll be fine there. But yeah, just magic damage, of course, against Viper. Not as susceptible to it. That Edict, though, we've been seeing them max out this Edict here early on. Of course, that is physical and good for damage on heroes like that as well as objectives.
Yeah, it's been Split Earth plus like 2 points in Split Earth, 4 points in Edict has been the build of late. Oftentimes going for an Atos very early on. We may see that now with the Anti-Mage picked up. Anti-Mage, obviously a very good hero against Leshrac because of how huge his mana pool is. I really do like the synergy between the Leshrac and the Elder Titan, though, because you have a huge amount of magic damage AoE, and you also have a huge amount of physical damage with the Edict. Elder Titan amps both of those.
Yeah.
So this Leshrac is going to feel really, really, really strong if the Elder Titan is standing next to him. And I think it might even surprise Empire just how much damage he's going to be able to pump out.
Yeah, and then the other question is, will this be a mid Leshrac or maybe the off lane? You mentioned the Anti-Mage coming out in that 4 spot pretty comfortably for Empire. It is, of course, a very strong hero against somebody like Leshrac, at least potentially with the Mana Void. Just Counterspell, nice to have against him. But they do have a Bane on the other side, so they got some decent lockdown. Granted, the Counterspell use coming out from Anti-Mage, but clearly not enough to concern him.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, they picked it into the Bane. I don't think that the Bane is enough lockdown to deal with the Anti-Mage, especially since it's going to be a 5. It's going to be hard for the Bane to be everywhere that the Anti-Mage is. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Bane to catch the Anti-Mage. Otherwise, he should have a relatively free game, at least once he gets a Manta style, I would imagine.
Well, the Bat Rider ban coming out for the side of Nemiga. Now waiting on the final ban for Empire before advancing on. It looks like it is going to be the Ursa. And now the pick to come. So, yeah, I probably want to get a little more crowd control for Nemiga, but again, it really also depends where you're going to have this Leshrac matchup. And how would Leshrac match up against Viper? I guess I keep thinking much more the old school Viper, because to be fair, a lot of these Viper matchups, it does seem like it almost goes the other way for the most part. It's just Viper tends to jungle instead. So I suppose Leshrac could do just fine.
Yeah, I think another thing about the Leshrac pick is that it does kind of punish, if it is run mid, that is, it does kind of punish the Viper leaving the lane to go farm stacks, which has been the general play style for this hero these days, which is to push out the lane, go farm the jungle, etc. Leshrac, if Viper's gone for more than 30 seconds or so, is going to take your tower with the Edict, especially since he's maxing that now. But yeah, I think it should be a lane where both farm like relatively well. I think we could see the Bane rotating through potentially and ganking the Viper if he's playing too aggressively.
All right, they're putting a lot of thought in this final pick. They have the Anti-Mage, they have the Viper. We have seen the offlane Viper coming out, so it's a possibility, but it looks like it is going to be a Nature's Prophet pick on the side of Empire for that final spot. So Nature's Prophet, I would assume is going to be an offlane. I mean, you could even throw Tiny in there as far as a core role, though. They like for the matchup purpose, but where do you think this NP is going to end up?
I don't really remember ever seeing an NP4. It's almost always been Nature's Prophet as a 5, so it's most likely going to be the offlaner.
Yeah. All right, well, Chaos Knight's going to be the final pick. Zitrax queues up on the Chaos Knight immediately as well, and so it's going to be an offlane Leshrac. Actually,
yep.
Sunlight.
Mid-morphling.
Yeah, Sunlight's their mid player, so mid-morphling. Interesting. Okay. And then they have Chaos Knight as the position 1.
So one of the things about morphling in the lane, especially in a one-on-one, is that he tends to have a massive advantage because he has very fast projectile speed, very high base damage, and Viper has neither of those. So there is a chance that Viper could get completely dumpstered in the lane. You may even want the Bane to like come bother the Morphling in the first couple of levels until Viper has a couple of points in Nether Toxin. Otherwise, he may end up with literally no CS for the first like 2 or 3 minutes of the game.
Oof, that could be brutal here for them. But all right, this is game 1 though of a best out of 5. So strap in, guys. Again, especially in this series. Hell, if NIP versus Singularity can go 5 games, this one absolutely can. These teams competing in it, so we'll see how it kicks off. But of course, going to be a journey between them to see who moves on to the super finals. That is, as we now at least know the drafts for our first game. But yeah, confident with the Chaos Knight pickup. I suppose in the idea against Anti-Mage, he's pretty good. Now, the Chaos Bolt can be reflected by AM if you're not careful. But Reality Rift, he doesn't really care about the counterspell too much in that sense there. So they do have some decent catch. It goes back to the Bane. What was the CK enough though of an answer? I mean, splitter stun from Leshrac, sure, but of course requires a setup. So you think AM's going to have some nice mobility here?
Yeah, I'd say that the CK definitely out carries the entire Empire lineup. So it's just a matter of whether he's going to be able to get online or whether they can, slow down the anti-mage enough. CK is definitely going to struggle dealing with the split push from the AM and Nature's Prophet. But at the same time, if Nemiga can hit their timing where they can just kind of roll down a lane and force Empire to fight them, I think that there's basically no way that Empire can win a team fight.
Oh, Viper. He's already just chilling, setting up to go in the mid lane, of course. On the other side, it is Morphling. So to confirm that, I figured from the players playing it, but just to have absolute confirmation. Zitrax, it's been a fun journey watching him as well for Nemiga. He's played 2 or 3 games, I want to say, even of Razor. And he's the one that's been doing that whole Villa Discord build, of course, on the Razor. And it's worked out pretty well, to say the least. Here they are. At least 2 of those games they won, maybe all 3. Hard to remember exactly. But point is, use it as a farming tool. But where I'm getting at is that I wonder if we're going to see some unique stuff on a CK. CK seems a little more straightforward, though, when it comes to his build. Armlet, the eventual heart, I'm sure.
Yeah, really definitely a Midas. Definitely a Midas this game.
Yeah. We are in that Midas minute after all. A nice cinematic view here to kick off game number 1. As, of course, we are in the pause. So, yeah, they were ready to jump right into this one. They kind of started technically what ended up being the default time as a result of the other series going the distance. But jumped right into it. And I've been impressed by both of these teams. But, yeah, Nemiga's team play has looked very impressive. So we'll get to see potentially more of that.
Yeah, they've been straight up out fighting the teams that they've been playing against. They just seem to have a really good communication during the engagements, and they're targeting the right people. They're casting their spells well. They're helping each other out, and they're keeping their formation and positioning good and tight in the fight, so that they're not, like one person's not just randomly chasing somebody too far out of the fight and feeding a bunch of kills.
They don't want to do that.
And Empire on the other side they've made the best of their situation. They got the opportunity to continue to play in the tournament after losing to the Pango, and they capitalized by, to be honest, they kind of crushed Na'Vi. It wasn't really that close.
Yeah, they looked like the better team for sure.
Yeah,
that was a couple of days ago now, on the 27th there. So on Wednesday when they played them, so. They were able to get Viper in both of those games, I'm seeing as well. And they have Viper this game, right? Yeah, it is Empire. We're on the Viper here. So Viper, though, in general, has been, very popular throughout this tournament and since these last major events happening, both ESL and MDL last week. And I'm sure the pubs are feeling it, too. Plenty of mid-Vipers coming out.
I think he's like 26% pick rate now.
Is he really?
Like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is pretty high up there.
Yeah, I was doing some research for my weekly meta report video, and it's all about Viper right now. It's like just an insane amount of Viper, lots of Bounty Hunter, lots of Bane.
You know, you keep mentioning these videos that you're making here as we're coming out of the pause. Where can we find these videos? What is that about, Elevated?
Dota Alchemy is my YouTube channel where I make guide videos with my buddy Jenkins, who is a high MMR, punch spamming offlaner.
He's a pretty good player. Makes some good guys there.
Right.
He's aight. Astral, by the way, he's not aight. He's in trouble.
Or
He is going to pop a salve. Oof. Very close call there. No Orb of Venom, though. Of course, there's the Blightstone debuff, but no ticking of a dot. He'll be able to pop the salve freely and survive.
Wow, and I'm looking at some of the stats. Batrider actually has the highest win rate in the tournament over 10 games.
Batrider for this tournament?
Yep.
How many games is that, though? It's probably not the craziest.
No, it's only 10.
Okay.
They've only played 10, but the highest picked hero is at 11. So
Well, good discussion there as Zitrex gets taken out. He just simply got collapsed on. He got blocked in by Maiden on the Nature's Prophet, and so you there to assist as well, of course. They take him out, so good job there. Getting the kill on Chaos Knight. He's TP's back in, right back to farming, but First Blood already going the way of Empire. At that bottom lane.
yeah, it's surprising. CK is a very tanky hero, and he's not one that usually dies in lane. He almost never dies in lane, in fact. With that crit providing such good lifesteal.
Top lane, Bane and Leshrac going up against the Anti-Mage Oracle. That does seem like that's quite hell for Anti-Mage, at least in these earlier levels. Leshrac setting up to have some good CS, no doubt there. And mid lane, Morphling versus the Viper. You mentioned Morphling setting up to have a pretty good time. 10-3 versus a 6-0 Viper right now, so it is favoring Morphling at this point.
The door
needs to be answered. 1
Door
second, please.
Hey man, once you order pizza, that's your #1 priority, not Dota, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, they didn't know when the series was going to start 100%. You know, the other series had to finish first, so want to put some order in, and all of a sudden, coming during the first game, it happens. Or it could just be a random, person. We don't actually know, but
Jehovah's Witnesses, that's who's at the door.
it's possible too. All right, here's the resume. Back into game 1. Yeah, CK, ever since he's been back now, of course, he's picking up some good CS. So taking the heavy harassment, sure, from the Nature's Prophet, but overall, he's not letting that bother him too much. You mentioned the Chaos Strike and the lifesteal that he gets from it. He can sustain pretty well. It's just, will he get tossed into a bad position again?
See Morphling crushing Viper in the mid as expected.
Yeah. Especially in the deny count, 5-0 for the denies. So we'll very likely see that transition from Kodos on the Viper to the jungle sooner than later.
Yeah, although kind of an unfavorable trade taken there by Sunlight, so Viper getting a little bit more space than he normally would. Being able to actually be aggressive on the Morphling a little bit. Speaking of the top lane,
Yeah.
you mentioned the Bane Leshrac lane, and I definitely think that this has it's almost like the Bane Mirana to some extent with the Enfeeble. Like you get 1 point Enfeeble, 1 point in Sleep.
Radiant are scanned.
Enfeeble, you sleep. Split Earth. Like, how do you fight against that?
You just die, yeah.
Yeah.
He does have the Brain Tap, of course, added burst damage. But yeah, well, it would be interesting to see if he gets that people sooner than later.
Split Earth.
1-1-1. The Split Earth does land, and Black Angel goes down, just running at him with that Diabolic Edict. It's just level 2 Leshrac. Again, it's just the damage that you can put out if you happen to be by yourself in that case. It is intense. So, good kill coming out from the top lane there. Already much online. As I say that, Anti-Mage is 10-2, Leshrac 9-1. So, AM is managing some decent CS himself. It's the Oracle that really does need to be careful. As we saw right there.
What time are you at in the game, by the way?
3:41, 3:42. Am I a little bit behind?
Yeah, I'm like 5 seconds in front of you.
Let me just refresh it real quickly. All right, now I'm at 3:51, 3:52.
Yeah, close
Should be
enough.
good. Okay. Got to figure it out. It really takes me back to old school guys. I actually dreamed top lane needs to blink away, gets it off in time, but he took a chunk of damage there. Good split earth coming out to stay alive. Stick use from Bane also keeps himself alive, as that's why Anti-Mage was chasing, figuring he had the kill. But yeah, it takes me back to earlier days, especially, again, I go back to Han, where we had to rely on replay casting a lot of the time, so I have to line up the timers and everything. Said co-caster, counting it down.
Yeah, there was some really interesting solutions back before the tech caught up with it in the early days of esports, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the ESL ladders, you had to submit a demo and screenshots with every match that you played. It was very complicated.
Yeah, there's still tournaments. I mean, to be fair, manual run tournaments that do that for some of these games, like auto chess events, I know have to kind of rely on that. So they have screenshots and stuff. So, but nowadays, a lot of these games do have these automated systems with the API and everything, of course. That helps out. Back in our day, video games were so much different.
Get off my lawn.
Darn kids. All right, 29-3 Chaos Knight. Again, he is looking fantastic now. Had the early death, but since then, it ain't been an issue. Viper, he's as expected in the jungle. Morphling, speaking of that, also looking great. There's that toss. It racks though. He puts a stun out. He gets good damage. Good block with the body.
Blocking.
Can he actually get out? Astral's going to try to help with the Echo Stomp. Only hits Tiny, but the damage, the blocking of the
owning him.
It really is. Maiden's a baller right now. The toss in and oh, the Sprout. He sees him. Zitrax was trying to hide. Hope he went away. That's not the case. The blocking was so beautiful. He makes it look easy.
Just pure outplay there. Maiden was, as his Trinas got, whittled down. He had like 2, and he had 1, and he's still blocking with that 1 Trina, just making the TK unable to actually escape.
Yeah. Very well played there as Tiny. He TP's out. He TP's to the mid lane. Goes for the play on a Morphling, but Morphling a little too quick. Going to bottle up an Invis. As far as happens to find it there for the 6-minute spawn. So Tiny will kind of take over some levels for now, or soak up some experience in that mid lane, but no doubt Morphling could get a kill if he's not careful. Dream, top lane again. We saw it before. It damage, the combo comes out. He survives, but he's going to have to rely on these heals now for Oracle to consistently happen.
Yeah, does he have 1 point in people? I didn't see. You probably maybe getting people at 4, now that I think about it. Want 2 points of brain sap for that damage.
Yeah,
most likely.
Yeah, I think the second point of brain sap is good value, but absolutely at 4, I could see it getting, of course, second level of sleep, not as necessary. Astral, they were trying to put some pressure on Maiden right there, but the Sprout play, he's going to TP back to base and regen, but of course, being Nature's Prophet, he'll be able to teleport back in, thanks to that nifty skill of his.
Denied.
As Leshrac already has phase boots, is going to go the Rod of Atos. I saw he had queued up there, so I know you pointed that out going up against an Anti-Mage. Pretty good item.
Yep, definitely, and it'll certainly be able to punish a lot of these lower mobility heroes like the Tiny, Oracle, and Viper. Keep them close to you while you just edict them down.
Aslow's kind of just chilling nearby again, soaking up. Oh my god, plus 168 right there. Jeez. That's a lot of damage. It's almost triple damage.
Stellar Titan things. That's why this hero is often played as this safe lane bully hero to kind of secure farm for a safe laner against an aggressive lane.
Yeah. Correct myself, that was almost quadruple damage, I think about it. By the way, turn around with the mana point at the top lane, but Chosen One doesn't care. The Edict's still ticking, and Anti-Mage is going to go down. Again, Fate's Edict good against a lot of this magic damage, but you got to mix a Brain Sap and the Diabolic Edict. It doesn't really care. And Black Angel, he is one more auto attack. He's dead. Double kill for the Chosen One. Now this lane's really online if it wasn't before.
Yeah, kind of interesting choice to go for the phase boost on the Leshrac. It's generally seen as not very good on ranged heroes now because of the changes where it's way better on melee heroes, but just the fact that the hero needs to chase, wants the armor, phase is also very helpful if you're trying to be blocked by somebody. So one of the few ranged heroes that you'll still see phase boost picked up on.
They're going to pop the Shrine. I'm wondering if they're going to rotate elsewhere. But it looks like on the mini-map, you have Chosen One heading back to the mid lane, or the top lane, excuse me. And we'll continue that farm. So Kodos, meanwhile, throws down the Nether Toxin, push out the lane, and then goes back into the jungle. So just the back and forth, and his farm is pretty good. He's just jumps up even in the second right there, slightly behind the Morphling. So, as usual, the going into the jungle has worked out pretty well for Viper. But look at top lane, well, no kill, but again, applying some good damage, good splitter stun. Let's have the Pulse Nova now, being level 6. Here comes ToW, though. There's 3 heroes up here for the dire side. Bane is wrapping around the middle lane, so that Leshrac could be in trouble. He doesn't know it. As I see on the minimap, there we go. They go in, the toss back. Anti-Mage blinks back to get the toss on him. Chosen One in that tower range. Great splitter on 2, though, but the man avoid the avalanche, and it's enough damage. Man, he almost lived right there. That was actually pretty close.
Yeah, super heavy commitment. Still almost escaping.
Meanwhile, Maiden, he's going to have trouble escaping out of this one. Reality Rift pulled in. 10-minute bounty runes are coming. Can he at least get that? It looks like he can. But, oh, the Sprout play! No, but the Astral Spirit. Astral gets the kill. Go figure. Top lane, there's also contesting, and Tiny gets picked off, it looks like. So, action all over the place as those 10-minute bounty runes are coming out, and maybe, I would say, favoring Nemiga on the big picture.
What?
Yep. Your Morphling continues to do very, very well. Scaling here in the mid lane as Viper continues to just do his thing in the jungle. I like the bottle pickup by Sunlight in the mid lane on that morph. And Anti-Mage continues to be heavily pressured. He is bottom 5 in the net worth.
Yeah, he has dropped down a little bit. I mean, when you do look at the numbers, it's not crazy behind, but it is somewhere that Empire would hope that he can step it up slightly. Maiden to bottom lane. Sprout play. Nope. Adaptive strike stun. And he goes down right there. So, yeah, that bottle from Morphling, again, very good in the sense that going up against Viper especially, he knows he's going to have to good bounty or some rune control and has made use of it. Top lane, though, chose one. Mana Void is ready again. It is. And boom, shakalaka. No chance to get out there.
Yeah, speaking of Viper, he has Atos online, and he is absolutely ready to fight.
Oh, kills Bane. Nice toss play from ToW, and they find it. They want more. They're pinging. I don't think they're going to catch up to the Elder Titan, but maybe they are.
Prophet.
Nature's Prophet TP is good for that. However, he is able to squeak out. And he gets away.
Titan's one of the faster heroes in the game, especially with the movement speed bonus from his Astral Spirit buff.
Chosen One, I don't know about this. Coming up here when there's 4 heroes. Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of damage. Going to add to the damage charts after the game, but doesn't get any kills there. That's 5 heroes all showing up. Oracle makes his way in, and they're going to get this top tier 1 now.
They certainly are. And just like that, Anti-Mage starting to climb the charts a little bit. I think that, yeah, that was just a straight up feed from the Leshrac. There's really no reason to go back up there.
I think he just assumed that they wouldn't have committed that many still, and he thought he was going to be fine. But Black Angel, by the way, is caught with the Fiend's Grip, and I'm pretty sure he has Enfeeble. That was lasting forever. You can safely assume that. Sunlight, middle lane. Viper strike on him, but he just waveforms over the ledge.
Yep, gets all the way across the river with that. That's pretty nifty. You get your escape. Looks like Midas will be the item for Nature's Prophet. Midas already complete on CK.
And the Morphling.
And the Morphling.
I think I saw the Morphling, at least. I'm pretty sure it was. So that's going to be, yeah, 3 Midas this game. 2 for the Nemiga side that is already online. So, yeah, and go figure. Both those heroes happen to be top in the net worth chart. So, we got back-to-back deaths on Leshrac, so slowing him down slightly. Which I am also, again, continuing to be intrigued by Leshrac's build because you are going up against an Anti-Mage, and the last thing you want to do is be this big bomb for the AM throughout the game. So how he builds, you know, I'm not saying he doesn't want to go things like he Yules, of course, but, you know, maybe don't go the Scythe, instead go, I don't know, just not mana.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe Bloodstone would be something you should avoid, but at the same time, you kind of want mana regeneration. So.
Yeah. He could go the Aura build. He could just be an Aura builder instead. Like a Crimson Guard, a Pipe, etc. ToW, by the way, he's caught. Killing spree for Sunlight. I could see that, though.
Yeah, but knowing how a lot of these pro players are, I would guess that he's probably just going to go relatively standard Leshrac items, and then just try to avoid getting gone on by the AM. Like Yules is okay. It'll help counter the route from Atos. It'll allow him to maybe escape, but better.
Yeah, Yules has its purpose. Like I do think the Bloodstone though is a good example that we usually would see, but I don't think it is a good item here because of the anti-mage. And I saw his Q up there for a second. I think he was queuing up the pipe even. So
yep. Yeah, he had Yules and then pipe queued up, which makes quite a bit of sense this game. Lots of magic damage on the side of Empire.
Has been denied.
Nice deny on that mid tower from Viper. It is dead, but at least able to make the best of it. Phantasm Army comes out, the pull in on a Tiny, but the False Promise coming in, and Sayu, he's going to run after them. He wants to get a toss off on Bane. Maybe the Chaos Knight. No, he's going to catch up to Bane, though. Can he get the toss combo? He actually gets healed up enough to stay alive, too, and Bane goes down. So, great turn right there for Empire. The Illusion still chasing, and not going to do much else. Yeah, you're right. Essentially wasted there by Chaos Knight. And even Tiny's going to come in and get a couple of the kills. He's like, yeah, I had the last laugh. Yeah, well, at least you got bots on Morphling now. Jeez. Midas bots Morphling build.
Yeah, this Oracle's going to make CK's life really hard. They need to take a fight where Morphling or somebody can go on the Oracle in the backlines. Otherwise, CK's not really going to be able to do very much between the root, the disarm, and the False Promise, saving whoever he goes on.
There's that Midas finish on Interest Prof we were mentioning earlier, but again, I go back to this Morphling, and it's one thing to go the Midas, of course, especially right now in the meta, but going in the bots as well, not your usual, is even the further greed, you could say, from Mr. Morphling here.
It's definitely dual purpose. It's going to allow him to keep up with the Prophet and anti-mage split push, and since he's the strongest hero on the map right now, he's one of the best heroes to deal with that. He also has very low cooldowns, which allows him to have high uptime when contesting them.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Zetrax killed off.
Yeah, that's definitely troubling though. CK is having too many deaths so far in this game.
Yeah, his farm's good, but you're right. It's just a game where it's not necessarily going to get great for him, specifically with the Oracle. Now, against Viper, it feels like he might be decent, pulling him in and bursting him down. One of their better options, of course. But speaking of Oracle, he gets caught there. They find him, they get the tower kill, and they will back off. As a team,
Sunlight
looking good for Nemiga, and Sunlight's chasing. As the anti-mage, he can't stop this, though. I guess he could have, but not in time.
Yeah, not fast enough on the swap there.
That's going to be interesting to see him morphing into the anti-mage. Blinking through, popping that counter spell even.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to be tossed back here. He's trying to chase. He does not have anti-mage anymore, I don't believe. Buff 4 off. So we have to stay back there. The transitioning. Again, very even game, though, overall net worth. So we talked about how the Chaos Knight may have a bit of a struggle. What about Morphling? You feel like this is going to be a pretty good game for him?
Yeah, I think so. They don't really have any hard lockdown on the side of Empire. You know, like, even the Tiny Avalanche, I think you can still get your waveform off during. So until there's a Hex picked up on the Furion, Morphling should be able to do exactly what he's doing, which is being everywhere, fighting everybody, and coming out on top of those for the most part.
Yeah, remember, that was a first pick Morphling, too. We were stressing that with the draft. But
yeah, they didn't really punish it at all, from what I can tell.
A Spirit Vessel will be nice. I don't know if Tiny went that direction. He bought a Blink there, so I assume not. But perhaps he will look to get one after the Blink now. It's one of those items that you're going up against a Morphling. It feels pretty good to have.
Yeah, and I wonder if they picked the Leshrac with the intention of running it off lane, or whether it was going to be mid, but then they flexed it to off lane. I really like that move if that was the case, because you can see that he still pretty much can do his job with no farm. You know, all he has to do is just press Edict near a tower, and good things happen.
Radiant's middle tower
What they
is
do,
under
bad
attack.
things happening for Bane there. He, I assume, got tossed in, or else he was just in a horrible spot. Yeah, using that blink on Tiny that he just got, so. Free kill there, Anti-Mage. Blinking over, farming the Ancients. Yasha trying to farm next. Of course, he has the Battle Fury.
Radiant's middle tower is under
I would
attack.
say a pretty decent time considering how the lane was kind of going. He is jumping up to 4th now in net worth, and he's climbing quickly. So, Anti-Mage will be a threat. How about the Viper, though? Viper actually is topping the charts right now. We're dealing with a Midas bots Morphling on the other side, but Viper did go a Midas himself after the Atos. He really is a farming machine hero now. I like he went from being a hero that was notorious for not being able to kind of farm effectively in the jungle and stuff to rapid farming like crazy. Anyways, fight breaking out down here at the Bounty Rune. Seiyu puts a stun out, but now he needs to run. Edict taking him down with a pulse Nova Maiden. He's locked down with the False Promise off to the side as well. Chosen One gets inside the Nether Toxin, but he runs out with the Split Earth. Hits 2. Viper holding his ground, but the Split Earth comes through. There's the Eul's on himself. Just helps stay alive, and they finally kill Viper. Nature's Prophet was eventually finished too, being held by the Fiend's Grip forever in the back lines.
Yeah, the big difference there was that the CK was able to find the Oracle in the back lines and immediately take him out of the fight, which, you know, gets rid of the save, and that means that CK and the rest of his team can just go completely wild. And I would say, like, I'll repeat it again, I don't think that Empire can win team fights. I think they pretty much have to exclusively rely on split pushing and pickoffs.
Okay. Well, oh, man, Tiny's able to find that kill on Morphling. That would be something, but he got the shift off and he survives.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
A bit of a close call there,
Radiant's
though.
top tower is under
Felt
attack.
dangerous. Leshrac, who did a Defiance finish, so goes back to he is building up the pipe. Been the off-lane Leshrac. You know, he's not accelerating like crazy, but he's doing his job. He is even slightly ahead of the Prophet on the other. And as long as he's beating Prophet, I think that's actually great for Nemiga, especially with the Midas on Prophet. That's good news there. The Anti-Mage, no doubt the focus, though. Okay, he continues to climb. This is a game where, as it usually stands, BKB probably expect to see soon here on Anti-Mage, maybe the next Dynam. But it's not the end-all be-all BKB game either.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to save that for the end.
You think later one? Okay.
That's like the finisher item for Anti-Mage. I think he's definitely going to prioritize a Basher and Butterfly first. Butterfly being very, very good this game against the CK Illusions, who are probably his biggest threat, getting stunned and bursted by that.
We'll see.
Morphling's been doing a really good job, though. Every time he sees Anti-Mage TP to a lane, or show up in a lane, he immediately TPs there with the travel and counter pushes it, because Anti-Mage does not want to fight Morphling at this point in the game.
Yeah. So maybe that is the biggest reason you got them. Going back to the purchase of the bots, yeah. Good use. Medallion picked up by Elder Titan. He's going to go to that BKB. We see this a lot in these support Elder Titans. I say support Elder Titan as if that's a rare thing. I mean, it's pretty typical. The core Elder Titan, not really a thing, unfortunately. I would love to see it. Doesn't have that 100% lifesteal talent anymore, though.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, when talents first were introduced to the game, there were some really, really funny ones.
Was it 100%? It was high. I don't think it was that much, but
It was definitely up there. It might have been 100%.
it might have been 100% actually. Anyways, he doesn't have it anymore. Things have changed. Times have changed. Anti-Mage. That's the
Dire's
real
turret
one.
has been killed.
Ripped.
Yeah. He
Leshrac
is dead. I mean, I'm guessing. Yeah. If they did not kill him there, that would have felt really bad.
Tower is under
Yeah, it was a
attack.
really, really early splitter by the Leshrac. Panicking a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't matter.
Oh, great find.
Radiant's middle tower is
Chaos
under
Knight.
attack.
How about this priority? Gonna go AC first before the Heart, and it's more of a, unlike Empire, who can't really team fight the greatest, Nemiga can, and so maybe that's a sign of why he's going the AC, and also helps with the objectives, of course. such as this. Roshan gonna fall. Aegis. Again, Leshrac is a great Aegis carrier, but being an off-lane Leshrac, we'll probably see no Morphling chance.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, there.
Sunlight, definitely. He's more of the carry this game than Zigtrax is. Zigtrax is kind of just playing like an anti-core, where he's very dangerous to anybody that's near him, but he's very bad at being a true hard carry because he is just going to struggle staying on top of people.
Mm-hmm. See Bane going through counter warding. He's going to find a sentry right. Oh, did you not see the sentry? That was interesting. He placed a sentry and just ran by the opponent's sentry and then placed a ward down there. That was odd. Anyway, he finally finds it though. Lincoln's finished on Morphling. As what is a Lincoln's going to do this game? It does prevent you know, things like the Mana Void, Viper Strike. It's definitely some solid stuff.
Yeah, it's the stats, it's the regen, and it's the fact that Empire have no single target disables pretty much. So with a Lincoln's there, like, there's very little chance that you can be blinked on, have your Lincoln's disabled, and then disabled yourself. So, like, sure, Viper can Atos him, but it's going to be blocked.
Yeah.
Oracle can go for the Fortune's End. Is that the one? Yes, Fortune's End is the root. But that's going to be blocked.
Yeah. I mean, technically... Go ahead.
It basically just means that Morphling, like, can't be caught.
Yeah. Technically, Oracle does have 3 ways to remove a Lincoln's. All 3 of his abilities could use a single target there, but... Yes, it gives you that reaction time. Maiden. Oh, the split with catches. He tried to TP out, but Maiden able to find, or Chosen One able to find Maiden, but the natural teleport with the ability, and he actually does escape. So that was a close call, but Leshrac could not finish the job. Needed somebody else to be there for at least a couple of auto attacks. Unable to get that, but they're pinging the bottom tower. Remember, they still have the Aegis on Morphling for a good 3 minutes or so. They got a bit of a window here to further their lead, as Fishman's getting some vision down, but he's going to run into a trap. Puts a sleep up, Sayu. Throws out the stun, but here comes that support. Astral in. Sleep goes up. Fishman, brain sap. He heals up a bit more. He might die in the end, but he's taking a lot of time to go down. The Earth Splitter onto, as Oracle is got on the back. Has a false promise himself. He did not want that. Mana Void on Chosen One. His mana was, though, it's not enough to kill him initially, but he's out of mana currently. He's just running around like a freaking disco pony with his head cut off. He goes down. Another Toxin just being spammed around like crazy from Viper, though. And as long as the Radiant team's running on that, it's doing work. I guess that is Sunlight, too. That's why there's so many Nether Toxins as he morphed into Viper. But it's all of a sudden just him. And get out it's easier said than done. And he still has the Aegis. He's going to wait for him TP. They know he's up here, though. Do they have a stopper? No, the Lincolns comes into play.
Right there. Right there, I'd say that the Lincoln pays off for itself.
Yeah.
Just with that particular escape.
Yeah, I mean, for that, sure. But the team, that's a almost 3,000 net worth swing right there in favor of Empire.
Yeah, that was a very awkward fight. They were setting up vision, and the Bane got caught, and then they decided to engage onto the enemy shrine up high ground with no vision. So that's just a recipe for disaster. I don't care what your team is. I don't care how big your team fight is. If you are trying to fight uphill with no vision, you're just going to lose against a team that's equally as skilled as you are. So there's really no reason to just let the Bane die and then figure out from there, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were desperate to save the Bane and set up a turn. And yeah, in the moment, it was I was expecting the response, so it'd be hypocrite to say otherwise. But yeah, when you kind of sit back and really look at it, it was a scream of desperation there that wasn't really necessary. We did see the interaction of Morphling, again, morphing into Viper. And we've had the Rubik games against Viper where stealing Nether Toxin is fantastic for a lot of reasons, let alone against Viper himself. It's decent against Anti-Mage here with the break, so I wouldn't be surprised if Morphling does prioritize the Viper when those fights come out. So keep an eye out for that, but it still didn't matter. in the long run. The place they were fighting just wasn't the best. And so there's a Shrine Pop. Yeah, look at this Viper now, Guardian Greaves. He's going to have a BKB soon. He needs the recipe, but speaking of that, Anti-Mage just finishes his own BKB.
My
All right.
thanks to thee.
And they're smoking in. They're drawing the line for a wraparound. They know Morphling's pushing middle. They see another one, too. Wow, this could
Dream is
work
level
big.
22. That's what happens when you have a bunch of accelerated experienced heroes with these Midases dying. Just huge boost in experience to whoever's killing them.
Oh, look at this. They're setting up on the uphill, hoping they come up, but they're not going to. However, Nemiga still wants to cut them off. Leshrac going to be found. Anti-Mage exposed. They're pinging. No, another smoke. Ooh. Okay, exposed again. Anyways, they're pinging like they want to jump. Zitrax, they're going to go for him, but the Phantasm at the last second. He gets it off, and now things are a bit more difficult. But as I say that, he is still melting. Kodos gets hit by the stun of the back lines, but the finish on a Chaos Knight. He's staying at Earth Splitter. Black Angel is in trouble with the ultimate on him. He might die after the fact, but Anti-Mage still looking pretty healthy. They do kill Oracle, as expected, but Chosen One now, he's still running around. It's not going to work out. Sunlight did morph into the Viper, puts on his own Nether Toxin. Maiden TPing out. Maiden cannot get out in time. He falls. The Chosen One's still alive. Finally finished by the Anti-Mage at the end there. But now Anti-Mage, he wants more. He is still very healthy, I go back to. Fishman's also going to be cut down. Anti-Mage going now to Morphling. Morphling tossed in the air. It's all of a sudden just Morphling, it feels like. There are a couple of buybacks as Zelda Titan falls, but a TP in for the Chosen One. Sunlight, he's running as Viper. He is pretty good life himself. Nice splitter stun on Sinew at least. And Tiny probably going to end up dying with the rest running away from Empire. And, well, the rest is actually only Anti-Mage. They were able to kill Viper as well. So it did require a couple of buybacks. I mean, that was just a clash of the Titans right there. And fairly even when you look at the fight recap even, as far as gold change.
Yeah, it's only 30 minutes into this game, but we're already kind of seeing, like, Morphling versus the world, Anti-Mage versus the world. Viper, of course, did quite a bit, but it was mostly just soaking damage and dropping Nether Toxins here and there. Zitrax is not a hero right now. He's not tanky enough. He doesn't have enough HP. That means his illusions don't have enough HP. The Assault Cures doesn't really benefit them that much, other than just to help them put out some extra damage. And yeah, he desperately needs this heart before he's really, truly online.
Well, it's an obvious thing to say too, but when he's dead, the AC does nothing. And he was the first target picked off the bat there. So the idea of that item was kind of just taken away as well from the very beginning. So yeah, the heart is absolutely a key for Chaos Knight. And I suppose getting that level 20 talent's not bad either. The Reality Rift piercing spell immunity now, so that's ways to go through at least the one BKB. I don't know if Viper has this yet, or if he's going for one. Something else that you notice the trend in these last couple of fights too is Nemiga's trying to go beeline for the Oracle, and they do, but he just false promises himself, which on paper most of the time you feel like, oh, why would he do that? But if it means it delays him that much more in the fight and keeps that much more attention for another good 5-6 seconds, then it's done its job. And we saw that he was just running around. He died after the false promise wore off, but they were still having to pump in damage into him.
Yeah, see, I think that's the thing. I think you dive him and then force him to false promise himself, and then you just immediately forget about him because he's already used the ability that was giving you problems. You don't really care about the disarm. You don't really care about the root. You'd rather just make him use the one spell that he's actually screwing you over with, and then just let him run away, do his own thing, kill everybody else. It's the fact that they're chasing him and trying to continue to put damage in so that he dies after the false promise is over, but the whole time he's healing himself and he's reducing magic damage, so it ends up being like you're trying to take down some like 4,000 HP bristleback when you're actually going after this support Oracle.
Another smoke play. We saw what happened last time, Empire. Nature's Prophet not with him, but of course he has a teleport. Astral, he's going to be the victim this time. Maybe a bit better if you're Nemiga. You'll take it. Doesn't set up into any kind of big fight necessarily. But Roshan, they're checking. It is going to be up in about 15 seconds, I want to say here. So if they're patient enough, yeah, 7 seconds even, so counting down. Wait, somebody's got Anti-Mage popping the BKB. Looks like Fiend's Grip was on him, but it wore off there. Sunlight just explodes. The Mana Void comes out, not enough for the kill initially, but no buyback. 95 seconds. Morphling's out of the fight now. Zitrak's off to the side. He's doing a little bit better this fight, but by a little bit, that doesn't really mean much. He's still on top of the Nether Toxin. The Phantasm just evaporates. This Anti-Mage is just way too strong now already, and plenty of team support around him. Empire, they're looking pretty good here in game number 1 to finish the job. Chosen one, he's going to be gone on Anti-Mage, pops the BKB. Oh, no, that was actually Leshrak's BKB. He just still melted through it.
Game's just over.
It could be.
They just took a fight right outside of their base and lost. So, yeah. This game is over, 100%. There's no way that Nemiga can win this game now.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen.
And there's the 25 talent for Anti-Mage. Gets that counterspell magic resistance. Choosing that over the 20-second Mana Void.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
As long as he's not broken, that magic resistance is pretty good. Point is,
I'm amazed that they're not going for tier 4s right now.
yeah, just to finish it. Good point. They feel as, they actually feels like they could have finished the game there. Maybe they figured there was a buyback and on Leshrak or Morphling, and they just didn't want to risk. I don't know. That is odd though.
Yeah, I think as soon as you go to the second set of racks and nobody buys back, it's like, all right, you probably don't have one.
Yeah. Well, playing safe, I guess you could say this way for Empire. Maybe not necessary, but they are going to have a very comfortable lead. 2 racks down. This Anti-Mage that still stands. He's feeling very good.
Radiant's top shrine is under
And so
attack.
Nemiga having to find some kind of answer, maybe a smoke play, and if they can catch the Anti-Mage by himself, get him killed. But now he has an Aegis, so that kind of goes down the drain.
Shrine is under attack.
A little bit, unfortunately, for them.
Radiant are scanning.
There's a
Close
shrine
delivered.
kill.
Abyssal Blade just delivered
Radiant's
on
top
courier.
tower is under attack.
Or do you have that already?
No, he just got it, yeah.
Okay.
Oh!
Radiant's top shrine has fallen.
Oh,
Rest in peace, Fishman.
he tried. He tried. Sleeps himself. Dream. He just jumps into the midst of it, pops that counter spell. No BKB yet, finally activates it. Viper is going to be slapped up by the Echo Stomp. He's holding his ground when the other to put down the Phantasm Army. Reality Rift pulling, popping the cheese though. Zitrak now being turned once again. The false promise, guess who it's on? It's on Oracle. He's running away. The Mana Boy comes out. Bane's dead. CK died as well. He is going to buy back. GG's are called though, it's clear. Empire just way too strong now as a team, and they will take game number 1 here in this best out of 5. Even almost said best of 3, best of 5 here for the Eastern bracket portion finals. Played well.
Yeah, definitely. After that bad early start to the Anti-Mage's game, I mean, lane stage doesn't really matter on this hero, and the fact that the Chosen One came back to the top lane a couple times, fed a couple kills, gave Anti-Mage a bunch of space afterwards, kind of started a snowball that they just really didn't have any tools to deal with. We kind of mentioned that in the draft, that Bane as the only catch for the Anti-Mage is really not enough.
Yep. And the Morphling, first pick Morphling, they didn't necessarily answer the greatest on the draft on the other side, and it showed. Sunlight did have some free reign throughout these fights, but he wasn't able to do nearly enough, and it really just was. This was a game that was very back and forth up until that bottom fight where they went uphill, they tried to save the Bane, and it just steamrolled the other way, essentially. It was like a 4-for-1 turn. Morphling made it out, but from there, Anti-Mage just kind of hit that power point of, I think he shortly got the BKB even after that, and they could not stop him. So, victory for Empire. Just game 1. In what's a best out of 5. So still a journey ahead of us, I'm sure, but feeling good about the start there if you're an Empire fan. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Elevated. We got game 2 going to be coming up here for the Dota 2 Tug of War Radiant Edition tournament, the Eastern Bracket Finals. We'll find out what happens next. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.